Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the college basketball slate on Saturday, December 19th. Slate starts at 11:30, so I'm recording it the night before because I'm not going to wake up at 3 a.m. and record it. So I'm doing it the night before. Do have some things that are a little bit up in the air with players questionable, but we're going to go over what to do if those guys play or not. So, there's really only one big one. But before I do that, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel. Really helps me grow. We've had a lot of growth throughout every single sport, and now really college basketball's been hitting pretty good. And this is a big slate of games for tomorrow. So hoping to get a good little audience. If you want to get this spreadsheet and projections for tomorrow and every single slate for the rest of the season for only $5 a month, you can get it. I'll put the link down below. It's on under Patreon, so be sure to go check that out as well. My social medias are down there as well. So I think that's really all I got to say. Let's get into the players, where we are going to start out with North Carolina's R.J. Davis. Carolina's going to be playing against Kentucky. Kentucky's been struggling. Carolina's been all right. I'm a Carolina fan, so I kind of always hold them up to a higher standard, but because I don't really think they're playing good at all right now. When you look at the line on this game, it has a line of 148. 136.4 is the line for this game, and Carolina has an implied team total of 69.3. So middle of the pack. It's not like a game that we really want to target that's going to be super, super high scoring, as we do have one game that is going to be massively high scoring that we definitely want to target. But this is a game that is interesting, I guess. R.J. Davis is going to be my favorite play from it, though. All the guys from Carolina are either a little overpriced or just pretty much priced right, including R.J. Davis, but he is going to play 33 minutes. That's what I have him projected for. He's $5,200. He's a .658 point per minute guy. Usage rate of 19.8 and assist rate 17.7. He's just a pretty good little guard for them. I like going there. I think he's worth that salary, $5,200. If he can just get a few more shots to hit than normal, then he's going to be a very good play for that price. So definitely someone I want to get into. Prentice Hub is up next. He plays for Notre Dame. They're going to be facing Purdue tomorrow. The line on this game is 138.2, and Notre Dame has an implied team total of 66.1. It's not the best in the world, which is why I only have one player on Notre Dame that I'm really interested in. When we go look at Prentice Hub, though, he is like their best player right now. I have him projected for 36 minutes. He's a .93 point per minute producer. His usage rate of 32.3 and an assist rate of 24.8. So that's pretty good. He's just kind of been their guy all year, go-to scorer. So definitely someone I just always am interested in someone like that. So Prentice Hub is going to be the one guy that does stand out for me. It's a slight pace down spot as well. I forgot to mention that for Carolina is a slight pace down spot, but nothing really to worry about too much in my opinion. Up next, we got the two Alabama players I'm interested in, and that is Jaden Shackelford and John Petty Jr. At 6,800 and 6,400. They're going to be facing Western Kentucky tomorrow. If we go look at this, it's going to be a slight pace down spot for Western Kentucky. But the line on this game is a total of 154, which is one of the higher ones on the entire slate. And Alabama has an implied team total of 80.1, which I believe is the third highest on the slate. So they're going to score a lot of points here. But these are two guys that stand out to me based on their salary. John Petty, I have him for 34 minutes. He has a usage rate of 20.3. He's a .89 point per minute producer. Assist rate of 13.7. He's pretty much just a shooter and a defensive player. He can get you points into steals, but if he's knocking down his threes, he's going to be really good. He's kind of always someone I try to get some exposure to because his ceiling is very, very high. He does have a lower floor. Definitely going to only be a tournament play for me, but I do like going there. And then Jaden Shackelford, I only have him projected for 28 minutes, but he can get a little bit more. He's like Petty, a .8 point per minute producer, but he has a higher usage rate of 24.8. So this is a guy who's pretty much just a scorer. If he's getting buckets, he's going to do well. So those are guys I like to roster in tournaments. Probably don't want to go to either of them in cash. It's just not the spot to get to him. Now we're going to go to Ole Miss as they face off against Dayton tomorrow, where we have Romello White and Devontae Shuler. Those are the two I'm interested there. This can be pretty much an even pace. Barely a pace down spot, like barely, but it's still not really anything to worry about too much. The line on this game is only 132.5, though, and the team line is 67.5. So you're going to notice I don't think I have anybody on Dayton that I'm going to talk about. Not interested in them at all. But the reason I want to talk about these guys is I think Devontae Shuler is just ridiculously underpriced. I have him projected for 37 minutes. He's a 1.25 point per minute producer. He has a usage rate of 29.1 and an assist rate of 34.7. One of the highest in each of those stats on tomorrow's slate, and he's only $6,900. It may not be the best matchup in the world, but that's just way too cheap. He projects out as one of my best plays on the entire slate, so I really want to get there. And then Romello White's just going to play minutes. He's $6,700. I think he looks like a decent play, and I think he's just interesting, someone to get to if you're going to play a ton of tournament lineups. Up next, we got Indiana going against Butler, where the only guy I'm going to be interested on there is their star, Trey Jackson Davis. Why is that going to be? Well, it's going to be a pace down spot for Indiana. And the line on this game is only 130.4. Indiana does have an implied team total of 68.6, though. When you go look at Trey Jackson Davis, he's been a stud, one of the best players in the country. I have him projected for 35 minutes. He's a 1.14 point per minute producer with a usage rate of 32.4. So, I mean, he is just a pretty good player. Definitely someone I want to have a little bit of exposure to in tournaments just because he just projects so much upside for you. Those are the type of guys I like to get. Now we're going to go into the game that I think is the big game tomorrow, which according to ESPN app is not even on TV. So I don't really know I'm going to watch that, but I mean, yeah, college football, whatever. But like, I don't know, number one and number 3 in the country playing each other. I feel like that should be somewhere. Anyway, Iowa and Gonzaga play tomorrow. This game has a massive total of 171.5, with Iowa having a total of 83.6, implied team total of 83.6. I mean, it's just a massive scoring game. Not two teams that are solid defensively but nothing special, and just two of the highest power offense, if not the two highest power offense in the entire country this year. We have a nice pace of spot for Iowa here as well. Gonzaga does play one of the fastest paces in the country. So the 3 guys I'm interested in are pretty much probably their 3 best players: C.J. Frederick, Joe Wieskamp, and then of course Luka Garza. C.J. Frederick, he's really only a shooter, but he does play like 34 minutes a game here. I've watched a lot of Iowa basketball over the past 2 years. I know how they play. I know how all these guys play because it's the same team from last year. These guys are all shooters. Like if they get hot from the 3-point line, they're going to be great and they're going to be must needs in your lineup. And C.J. Frederick's only $4,700. If he gets hot from the 3-point line, like we've seen him do plenty of times throughout his time in Iowa, he's going to be a great play. And in a fast-paced game, high-scoring total game, this is definitely a spot I think C.J. Frederick could be a very good option. Joe Wieskamp's a shooter that is a little bit more. I have him projected for 32 minutes. He is a 1.09 point per minute producer with a usage rate 24. He's probably their second best player. He's been he does pretty much everything. At 6,700, he projects out as a solid value. And then Luka Garza, I mean, he's my highest scorer projected player. Of course he is. It's $10,000. You have to pay the price to get him, but he just produces, man. I mean, this guy he's a scoring machine, a rebounding machine. He's worth that price in my opinion. There's not a ton of value, but there's enough I think where you can get to it. So Luka Garza, I mean, I'm interested in him. He brings a ton of upside. Would not be surprised to see him in the winning lineup tomorrow. So I think Luka Garza is a very good option. Brandon Newman and Sasha Stefanovic are going to be the 2 guys I'm interested in on Purdue. They're going to be going up against Notre Dame. This game is a total of 138.2, and Purdue has an implied team total of 72.1. So these guys look like pretty solid options in my opinion. The high-priced guy, Travion Williams, only plays like 25 minutes a game, so I don't really want to roster someone like that. If I had confidence he was going to get into the 30s, he'd probably be one of the best players on the slate because he's a high point per minute producer, but I just don't want to get to someone like that. Yeah, Sasha Stefanovic, he's $5,800. I have him projected for 34 minutes. He's a 0.67 point per minute guy with a usage rate of 15.4 and an assist rate of 18.7. Like, those are good, but I mean, I know he's not going to project that well, but he's going to play 34 minutes. This is another guy that's a shooter. If he gets top on the 3-point line, he's going to be a great play. So sometimes there's a lot of guys like that in college basketball where they're just shooters for the most part, and we have to play guys like that. You just got to hope that he's hitting shots. And then Brandon Newman, he's just kind of more of a value projecting for me. Only even projected for 26 minutes, but has a little bit higher usage rate than Stefanovic at 17.9 and an assist rate of 16.3. So he just looks like a solid value if you're trying to fill out lineups. BJ Boston, Terrence Clark, and Damion Minsky are the next guys I'm going to be talking about playing for Kentucky against North Carolina. This game has a total of 136.4. Kentucky is underdogs in this game with a implied team total of 67.1. However, this is going to be a pretty nice pace of spot for Kentucky as Carolina does play at a pretty fast pace. And then Damion Minsky is going to be the first guy I'm going to talk about. So this was the transfer from Creighton. I don't know if you guys watched college basketball for years, but Damion Minsky played at Creighton last, I think, 4 years, I guess, 3 or 4 years. He was a starting point guard. He didn't play last year. He was hurt all year, but he transferred over to Kentucky, and he started out the season on the bench, but I just kind of think he's going to be coming to start or in the last game we saw him play more minutes because Devin Askew, their freshman point guard, has been horrible, like completely terrible. So I expect Damion Minsky, when Kentucky really needs to get some wins, they're going to rely on their senior transfer a little bit more. So I only have him projected for 26 minutes, but I do think he's going to get a little bit more. He's a 0.76 point per minute producer with a usage rate 22.2 and an assist rate 26. He's a pretty good player. Terrence Clark is $6,100. He hasn't been a great fantasy producer with only a 0.66 point per minute, but he is playing like in the upper 30s. I'm projected for 37 minutes today. We've seen him get to 39 this year. He has a usage rate of 22.2 and an assist rate of 15.6. Just at $6,100, someone who's going to play that much minutes, and this is supposed to be a really talented player out of high school. I think that's a good option to go to. And then BJ Boston is their big freshman this year from California. He's supposed to be a top draft pick. Watching him, I see the upside, but honestly, personally, I can see a lot of flaws there. I don't think he's as great as everyone thinks he is, but we'll see how rest of the season goes. $6,600. I have him projected for 30 minutes. He's a .82 point per minute producer. Usage rate 27.8 is pretty solid. Those are the type of players I do like to attack. So BJ Boston, he does great out as a good play for me. In this North Carolina game, I do think he is a pretty solid option and definitely someone I want to get some exposure to. All right, so the game, I was talking about injuries earlier, and this is the game where the injury is important. Fortunately, Butler, Indiana is the first game of the day at 11:30, so we are going to know if Aaron Thompson is playing or not. Aaron Thompson, the best player on Butler, is questionable with a sprained ligament in his knee or something like that. I don't know. I don't think he's going to play personally, so I projected like he wasn't going to play. If he plays, all this value that this opens up isn't really that great, but assuming that he is out, this makes Jair Bolden one of the best plays on the slate. I'm pretty sure the last time we were talking about Butler, Jair Bolden was one of the best plays on the slate, and he smashed. I think he can do it again. If Aaron Thompson's out, I have him projected for 37 minutes. That's just going to be great for him. He's a 1.2 point per minute producer, already has a usage rate 27.7. I think that goes up. I think Jair Bolden is an absolute smash play if Aaron Thompson misses. You guys are going to have to pay attention to that. Go look it up on Twitter. Go look it up on Google. It's not like the NBA where we're only going to know like 30 minutes before. We're probably going to know early in the morning or maybe even tonight if Aaron Thompson's not going to play or not. So this is going to be important. And then if he is out, I think Chuck Harris probably starts in his place. And then I gave him 30 minutes. At $4,800, that means 30 minutes for $4,800. He's a .8 point per minute guy, and he has a usage rate 23.9. I think that's a really good play at only $4,800 to get all those minutes. I do really like going to Chuck Harris in the fact that Aaron Thompson's out. And then Bryce Enzi, I think that's how you say his last name, is another guy that I do like in the fact that Aaron Thompson is ruled out. Obviously, if Aaron Thompson's out, these guys are a little bit less interesting. I still like Jair Bolden a lot, but if Aaron Thompson does play, I don't think that makes these guys as interesting. So be sure to look out for that. Fortunately, in college basketball, we know injuries way earlier, so we don't have to like sweat it out like we do in NBA. But this is going to be very important. Fortunately, this is the first game of the slate, so we don't have to really sweat it out too much. Jalen Suggs and Drew Timme are on the other side at Gonzaga Iowa game. So again, total of 171.5. Gonzaga has the highest implied team total at 87.9. It's going to be a slight pace down spot for Gonzaga, but I mean, these two teams play two of the fastest paces in the country. I'm not really too worried about it. Not a lot of defense is going to be played there between them. But Jalen Suggs, man, he's too cheap. So last time we saw Gonzaga, Jalen Suggs got hurt, and it looked like it was like a torn Achilles. It did not look good. It was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be really, really bad. That was like 3 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago. Gonzaga hasn't played since then. Jalen Suggs finished that game. He's fine. Like, he's going to play tomorrow. And he only played like 26 minutes so in that game because of injury, obviously. And so his price isn't that high, but he should be higher. Like, he was on pace to play upper 30s a minute that game, so I gave him 35. He's a 1.3 point per minute producer with a usage rate of 22.7 and a huge assist rate at 36.7. Jalen Suggs looks like an absolute fantastic play tomorrow against Iowa. I absolutely love going there. He's going to be one of my favorite plays on the entire slate, if not my favorite. I really like him. Him and Devontae Shuler, I love going there. Jalen Suggs should be an 8K player, and he's only $7,200, and this is probably the last time we get him at $7,200 for a whole year. So I definitely want to go there. And then Drew Timme is the best. I think Jalen Suggs is the best player, but the best, non-freshman on Gonzaga. He's $7,900. I'm projected for 34 minutes. He's a 1 point per minute guy with a usage rate of 30.1. Just their big man who does a lot for that team. I think he's a good option. And then we're going to go finish this off with Western Kentucky, where Charles Bassey is going to be the most overlooked stud on the slate tomorrow, 100%. This game is a higher total than I think a lot of people realize. It has a total of 154, and Western Kentucky has an implied total of 73.9. Charles Bassey, like not a lot of people notice, was one of the highest ranked players in the country out of high school a year ago. He's a sophomore this year. He'll be an NBA player at some point. At $9,200, I have him projected for 31 minutes. He's a 1.4 point per minute producer. He projects out as one of my best values. Like, I love going there. Like, if you don't want to go up to Luka Garza, which is, risky, Charles Bassey is a great value. And I really don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership because you have all these big-name teams on the slate. No one's playing Western Kentucky. So Charles Bassey does project out really well. If you want to get some really cheap value, Kenny Cooper's fine, I guess. $3,500. I'm projected for 26 minutes. He's a 0.51 point per minute producer, a usage rate of 15.4, and an assist rate of 19.7. I think he's a fine option as well. And then Josh Anderson at $5,500 is another one that I'm okay with going to. I'm projected for 27 minutes, has a usage rate of 16.8 and a point per minute of 0.8. So I think that's really all I got to say in this video. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. Hope you guys really enjoyed it and got a lot out of this video. Be sure to hit a like and subscribe on this video so I can throw a little bit more. And if you want to get the spreadsheet with projections, put the link down below. Follow me on social media. Have a great weekend. Let's win some money. Saturday, college basketball.